Milan Kundera wrote, "The moment someone keeps an eye on what we do, we involuntarily make allowances for that eye, and nothing we do is truthful. Having a public, keeping a public in mind, means living in lies."
There's a type of success that comes at a high cost. A life that is admired, validated, and applauded by the world, but which leaves you with a quiet, inner sense of estrangement. Do you ever feel like you are playing a character in your own life? The competent professional at work, the fun, easygoing one with friends, the dutiful child with family. Each role has a script, and you play your part. But when the curtain falls and you are alone, there is a hollow feeling. Who are you when no one is watching? If this question creates a chill, it is because you have stumbled upon a difficult truth. You aren't living, you are performing a life. And that performance is a sold-out show every night. But the only person you are failing to convince is yourself. We are all actors. The great psychoanalyst Carl Jung gave this a name, the persona. He described it as the social mask we wear to navigate the world. It is not inherently a bad thing, it is a necessary tool. It is how we learn to be quiet in a library, how we speak to our boss differently than we speak to a friend. The persona is the curated version of ourselves that allows society to function. The danger isn't in having a mask. The danger is when we forget we're wearing it. The problem arises from what Jung called over-identification with the persona, when the performance becomes so consuming that we mistake the role for our actual self. And so the approval we get for our performance becomes the only validation we know. Think about the stages you perform on daily. The work stage, where you wear the mask of competence, using a certain vocabulary and suppressing any hint of vulnerability. You never admit you are struggling. You perform the role of the ideal employee, and you are rewarded for it. But this success is for the character, not for you. Then there is the friendship stage. With one group, you are the entertainer, never bringing the mood down. With another, the wise advisor, dispensing advice you yourself struggle to follow. You carefully curate your anecdotes and edit your feelings. You become a reliable character in their story, but feel a growing sense of isolation because no one knows the messy, authentic you. And perhaps the most complex stage, the family stage. Here, the roles are cast in childhood. The responsible one, the peacemaker, the success story. Breaking character feels like a betrayal. And so you play the part, discussing a life that feels like a well-rehearsed play, while your true doubts, your unconventional dreams, your deepest pains remain backstage in silence. This is a profound and progressive alienation from your instinctual foundation. Each time you suppress a genuine feeling or pursue a goal that society applauds but your soul rejects, you hand over another piece of your identity to the persona. Over time, the mask solidifies. It fuses to your skin. And one day you look in the mirror and you no longer recognize the person staring back. Living a life that is performed comes with an enormous psychological cost. The dissonance between your inner self and your outer actions generates a constant state of low-grade anxiety. It is the exhaustion of acting. This isn't the tiredness that comes from a hard day's work. It is the soul-deep weariness that comes from a lifetime of self-suppression. And in the midst of it all, you experience the very essence of alienation. You can be in a crowded room, surrounded by people who call you a friend, and feel utterly alone. This is the cruel paradox of a persona-driven life. The more you strive to fit in, the more isolated you become. The connections you form are not with you, they are with your representative. This breeds a terrifying, secret fear. If they saw the real me, would they still be here? This fear locks you into a life you cannot abandon. This leads to a pervasive emptiness, even in the face of what the world calls success. You might get the promotion, buy the house, achieve the milestones. You get the standing ovation. But inside, there is a profound silence. The achievements feel hollow because they are not aligned with your core self. Success that requires self-betrayal is, at best, a poorly negotiated good deal. It never truly nourishes the soul. And this is the ultimate cost, the gradual loss of your own identity. When you consistently prioritize external expectations, your inner voice becomes fainter until one day it falls silent. You are asked a simple question, what do you want to do? And you draw blank. Not because you have no desires, but because you have systematically taught yourself to ignore them. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. When you are only performing, you are forfeiting this privilege. You are trading the profound journey of becoming yourself for the fleeting comfort of applause. The cost isn't just exhaustion, it's the slow-motion tragedy of a life unlived." The journey back to yourself does not begin with a grand declaration. It begins with a quiet, private moment of recognition. The moment you finally admit, this is a performance. This recognition is not for shame, but for compassion. You built this persona for a reason, to protect yourself, to gain love, to survive, but the strategy has outlived its usefulness. It is no longer protecting you, it is confining you. This journey of reclaiming yourself is what Jungian psychology calls individuation. It is the lifelong process of becoming a psychologically whole individual. It's not about becoming perfect. It is the process of divesting the self from the false wrappings of the persona. And the first step is awareness. How do you cultivate this? It begins with a practice our modern world is designed to eliminate: a radical listening of silence. Our lives are filled with noise. We have become experts at filling every empty moment with external stimuli, because in the silence, the things we have been suppressing begin to surface. The whispers of our true self, long ignored, finally have a chance to be heard. Your task is not to find answers in the silence, but simply to create the space for them to arise. This video is an invitation to pause. Schedule 10 minutes of undistracted silence into your day. Sit down and do nothing. No phone, no music, no tasks. Your mind will race. That's okay. Your job is not to fight the thoughts, but to gently let them go. Think of it as sitting with a shy friend, your inner self. For a long time, you have been talking over them. When you finally offer them your full attention, they may not speak right away. Your job is to simply show up day after day in the quiet. Over time, as your inner self begins to trust that you are genuinely listening, the whispers will begin. This is the foundational discipline for what comes next. By creating moments of silence, you are sending a message to your psyche. I am ready to listen. I am ready to come home to myself. This is where you stop reading from someone else's script and begin finally to listen for your own voice. Once you have created space through silence, the next step is to actively invite your inner world into the light. This is the rehearsal phase. The first tool is journaling and dialogue with the unconscious. Think of journaling not as a diary, but as a space to externalize your inner world without censorship. The practice is simple. Get a notebook and write. This is a space of radical honesty. You might ask yourself, what did I pretend not to feel today? In which situation did I feel like I was wearing a mask? If fear were not an object, what is one thing my heart is longing for? What am I secretly angry about? By engaging in this dialogue, you bring unconscious material into conscious awareness. You build a bridge between your persona and your true self. The second tool is shadow work. In Jungian psychology, the shadow simply refers to the parts of ourselves that we have repressed or denied. This can include traits like anger or jealousy, but also positive traits we were taught to suppress, like our ambition, our vulnerability, or our power. If you were raised to be agreeable, your shadow might hold your ability to say no. The goal is not to eliminate the shadow, but to integrate it. It is to recognize that you are not just the light, but also the dark. How do you begin? Start by noticing your strong reactions to others. The people who irritate you most are often a mirror to your own disowned traits. If you find someone arrogant, ask, where have I suppressed my own right to take up space? This is challenging work. As Jung said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. It hurts to look at the parts of ourselves we have deemed unworthy. But refusing to look at them only ensures they control us from the shadows. By gently turning toward your shadow, you reclaim the energy you were spending on suppression. You become more whole, more grounded, and infinitely more powerful. This is the patient, courageous work of learning your own true lines. After the quiet reflection and private rehearsals, it is time to take your authentic self into the world. But this is not a single, dramatic event. Living authentically is a continuous practice of small, conscious choices. It's about closing the gap between your inner reality and your outer expression, one moment at a time. This is a practice of progressive sincerity. You don't have to announce every raw emotion to your boss. That's not authenticity. It's a lack of boundaries. You start small. It could be as simple as when a friend recommends a movie everyone loves, saying, "You know, I actually didn't connect with it that much." It could be declining an invitation by saying, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I need a quiet evening," instead of inventing an excuse. Each small act of sincerity proves to yourself that it is safe to be you. You discover that the world doesn't collapse. In fact, it often leads to more genuine connections. As you begin to live more authentically, not everyone will be happy. Some people benefited from your performance. When you start to honor yourself, it may feel like a disappointment to them. This is the price of admission to a genuine life. You will learn that the relationships that fall away were built on a false foundation. The ones that remain and the new ones you build will be real. This journey requires you to redefine success. True success is internal alignment. It is the integrity that comes from your thoughts, words, and actions, all resonating with the same core truth. It is the quiet peace of knowing you are living a life that is honest. As Jung taught, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. This is your awakening. We have walked through the theater of your life, from the many masks you wear to the exhaustion of the performance. We have seen that the cost of the standing ovation can be the loss of your own soul. But the show does not have to go on. The path back to yourself begins with the courage to be silent, continues with the brave rehearsal of journaling and integrating your shadow, and culminates in the daily premiere of small, sincere acts. This is not a journey to a destination. It is the very definition of living. If this exploration resonates with you, consider subscribing for more content that dives into living a more conscious life. Now, I want to hear from you. In the comments, let me know, what is one mask you feel you wear too often? Sharing it is a small act of taking it off. It's time to stop performing and start living. It's time to honor the single, unique, unrepeatable life that is yours and yours alone. The curtain on the performance is falling. It's time for your real life to begin.